I'm over here at the welding table and I've got this piece of plate steel, but I got to tell you, I'm really thinking about how to mount those shock brackets. Okay, so I'm back over to the truck, and as in the last video, chapter 71, I explained to you about mounting the shock up in this location at an angle so that we get the travel length, the full travel length out of the shock that we get out of the airbag. I can't mount it straight up and down because the shock is too long to get my required drop out of the airbag. So to mount the shock at an angle, I would be able to do that. I would be able to get the extension, but maybe not. Hang on, let me let that thing. All right, guys, I've got I don't know whether you were able to hear that or how loud it was. If you did hear it, I've got a dead cat on the microphone, but I know it's annoying to hear an air compressor running while you're trying to talk. But anyways, to get the full extension out of it, now I'm not going to get the total drop that I had talked about originally, but that's fine because I don't need it to drop it that much. But anyways, so what I'm looking at is making a bracket to mount the shock, the upper shock to the bottom of the frame. And what my issue is I had a bad experience mounting shocks, but I think it was the problem was the trailer. I tried to mount shocks to the trailer, and what I'll do is throw a little clip in here about that, and then I'll bring you back afterwards and explain to you exactly what happened. Okay, here we are under the trailer, and the shocks are all installed. Yeah. I'm going to, I'll give you updates on whether I think it's make any difference or not on the Diamond C trailer. I'm not really sure what's going on. Okay, so we're back over to the truck. So what happened with those shocks? I put them on the trailer, and they made a huge difference in the handling and the ride of that trailer. A huge difference. The issue is those shocks got torn off within the first 2 weeks of me putting them on. Apparently the throw on those springs is so violent that it ripped the plates off of the top of the trailer where I had mounted the top spin or the top eyelet of the shock absorber. Now what I had done is used a piece of 1/4 inch thick angle iron and spanned two of the cross members of the trailer, bolted it onto each cross member with 3/8 bolts, and it actually ripped the cross member right off, breaking most of the bolts, but a couple of them, it actually pulled the bolt right through the cross member. It was so violent. So it kind of sticks in the back of your mind. I know it's not going to be that way with this, with airbags on this and this suspension system on this. I know it's not going to be that way, but I've always got that bad experience with shock absorbers. Mounting them on the trailer is always going to stick in the back of my mind. So what I'm going to come up with is a plate to mount that onto. I'm probably not going to bolt it onto it, even though there's holes where pretty close to the location. What I'm going to probably do is I'll show it to you after I've got it made. But there's going to be a piece of plate that comes up here that's going to hold the let me call it bar stock. There's going to be a small piece of bar stock with a hole drilled through it that will accept a bolt through it into there. So the plate will probably be welded on the side of here. The piece that goes under here that accepts that will be welded on the underside of the frame. But let me get it together, and I'll show it to you once I've got one together. Okay, so this is a bracket that I made. It's still hot, so what this part will do is weld to the side of the frame. This part will be up under the frame, and what I'll do is throw a weld across there so that it's welded. The bracket is, oh man, that's hot. The bracket is welded on the side of the frame, and sorry, and welded on top of this part right down here will be welded to the underside of the frame. A hole will be drilled through there to get the bolt through that goes through the eye of the top of the shock. But it's hot. It's starting to get late. I'm not sure if I'll drill the hole today or I'll probably mark it out. But I just wanted to show that to you. So I've got this mounted, just C-clamped onto the frame right now. I haven't welded it. What I had to do though is, this was square before. What I had to do is cut it down at an angle, kind of rounded it off a little bit. That's just so that the body of the upper sleeve of that shock doesn't hit the bracket itself. It'll pivot around that angled cut now. But I've got to make the other one. I'm going to probably paint the back side of it before I get it attached to it. One of the things that I'll probably do is, you'll see that there's that partial hole through there where I'm probably going to want to weld that hole up. Ironically, I watched a video of a service mechanic, I think his YouTube channel is Western Truck and Tractor Repair or something like that. But he was working on a frame of a Peterbilt, and he was talking about these holes, some of the holes that are left in there, possibly welding them up so that it doesn't create weakness in the frame. Now, this part of the frame is extended out beyond the axle, so there's really not a lot of strain on this thing other than the shock. I mean, there's going to be like a back bumper plate. I'm not really sure if I'm going to put like a receiver hitch into the bumper of the thing so that I could pull a conventional trailer, but if I do, I might give thought to welding some of those holes up too. But anyways, I'll bring you back. Just a quick shot of the second bracket in the drill press. Well, it's actually the mill, just using it as a drill press. I had to make a couple of hauls. In the United States, they're closing a lot of on the eastern part of the United States, they're closing a lot of coal-fired power stations because of the government's environmental policies, which are stupid, but stupid in the fact that they're not being able to replace them power stations, or they're not replacing them power stations, but that's not the point. it was a coal-fired power station in Ohio that I had to go to, and to the power station was being closed down. They were selling off a bunch of stuff. A guy that I know, had bought a lot of high voltage electrical equipment from it, and the power station is kind of in a cramped location. So the first day that I went there, I ended up actually backing the trailer down into where the warehouse is through along the guard shack and along access in. The second time I went, because I had seen other trucks going out farther and turning around, trucks that were hauling coal out of the place, turning around further in. So I think instead of having to back through that narrow guard station, maybe if I went in, I could just turn around where they were turning around, only to find out that that is coal dust on the side of the truck there. That's coal dust on the side of the truck, even though I drove home through a couple of series of rainstorms, like 280 miles, and still have that coal residue on the side of the truck. I just brought it in the shop to kind of rinse it off a little bit. It's going to be cold and rainy, but the rain didn't take it off before, so I'm just going to rinse it off a little bit. I'll show you some of the stuff with the that I had to haul back with ink clips. There's just a brief shot of that bracket, the second bracket, after I rounded it off. I haven't test fitted it yet, but I cut it and rounded it pretty much in the same way I had done the first one, so it should fit, but I will test it before I... There's a shot of that second bracket kind of test fitted onto there. I've kind of marked out where I've got to grind off the paint so that it can be welded in there. But I just wanted to show it to you. Shooting the shot with the old camera, for some reason, you know, my newer camera, I will turn it off and set it down for a day or so, and then come back, and the battery is at 0. But I'm charging it up, and I'll bring you back after I take them off and put a flapper disc onto it and just get the paint off of it. So here's the right-hand side test fitted onto it. I'm going to, what I've got to do is, I marked the location of the brackets with some Sharpie marks. You probably can't see them, pick them up in the camera, but what I'm going to do is take it off. I will have to grind off the paint where it's going to be welded, both on the sides and underneath it. What I do have to do is get some more of this paint, this black paint on this frame. This frame had been sandblasted, and I had painted part of it, or most of it, with that POR that is kind of expensive. It can't be used as a top coat. If it's going to be exposed to sunlight, you have to paint over the POR with like an automotive paint. But I've got to get some of it. It does prevent rust. It's a great undercoating type of paint to help prevent rust. But anyways, I've got to get some of it. What I was going to say is, last time I bought it was probably like 4 years ago, and it was pretty expensive. It's like $32 a quart. I can only imagine what the hell it is now, but I'll bring you back anyways. Yeah, so I said that, and I had to go on eBay and just check to see after I got my curiosity piqued. Yeah, a quarter of it is now $52 plus shipping, which is like another $15. Shipping has become ridiculous too. But anyways, I'll bring you back. Just a quick shot. I put a couple of tacks onto it, and what I'm going to do now is go get the welding helmet and um, try and weld it up on the outside. I'll have to get on the dolly to get the underside of it. So here we are. I've got them both welded up. Um, Now I've got a little more work to do on them before I don't know whether the light is going to be good enough to see that, but I've got a little more work to do on them before I put the shocks on. Now those shocks, I'm going to leave those shocks on while the truck is being built. I will get new shocks for it. Those shocks were bought for the truck originally. And were used on the trailer, as you probably saw from another video. I had used them on the trailer. I don't want to. When I build it, when I get it built, I want to have new shocks on it. But I'll bring you. What I'll do is I've got some cleanup work. Want to get paint on it. Of course, I'll test fit it up before I paint it out. Get everything good on it, but I want to I've got some work. I need practice on overhead welding. There's like grapes, I don't know what to call them, hang down things that puddles of weld that kind of pulled up and dropped down underneath it where I welded underneath it. Again, I've got to maybe do some practicing on overhead welding before I attempt to do it again. But it's good. It'll hold. And so anyways, got to get that POR 15, get it painted up. I might just throw some Rust-Oleum on it first and then sand it off, and when I get the POR 15 and do it, get that on there, start thinking about what I'm going to start doing next. I'm not really sure. I might go onto the rear plate bumper, but I'm going to decide that. But anyways, that's going to do it for this chapter. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like button. Subscribe.